There are two emotional chemistry driving every inhabitant of Cameroon right now, at least 90%. Resentment and righteousness. Resentment says they don't care about us. Righteousness says we deserve better. This is happening in Garoua. The previous image you watch, that is in Abidjan. These are Cameroonians globally rising up to say this regime has to go down. Now, before I break down what drives these emotional triggers, what Cameroonians have been primed for over 43 years to manifest the way we see today, it's important that we listen to Minister Atanganji, the Honorable Minister of Territorial Administration. This country is about to go up in flames. I've said this, and I will clarify through this video so you understand what is happening with you. When you understand your problem properly, you are halfway there. But without a conscious understanding of your problem, you will be reacting instead of responding. So let's listen to Minister Atanganji, and then we will take it from there. But stay glued to your screen. You will understand what drives the leaders in this country. What is happening right now as we speak on the ground. That is Garoua and Abidjan. There are numerous videos across social media as to the emotion that is boiling in the citizens of this country. Now, let's take a listen.
It's a workshop to tell them exactly what has to be done during the process. You know, they are observers, but we realize that most of them don't even know what we call electoral observers. So that's why we had to call them to give them two important documents, the Observer's Guide and the Legal Framework, where we have all the laws binding the electoral process. It's important to discuss with them because after the process,
you see how Atanganji Paul is trembling, right? What you should be learning, my people, love your people and treat them well. This is 2025. This is not 1992. Love your people and treat them well. It's that simple. And you have a good time on earth. We don't have to do all of this. But Cameroon is about to go up in flames. Everything that you can imagine is about to go wrong. Get it? And for the Tikar people, so-called Anglophones, pay attention to this video. Because you understand even what is happening in the spiritual realm. You can't ignore that. Now let's listen some more, and then we will break down what is going on within Cameroonians, these emotional triggers, and what is causing these issues. Resentment and righteousness. They don't care about us. This government don't care about us. They don't care about our children. They don't care about us getting jobs. They don't care about roads. They don't care about our well-being. Righteousness, we deserve better. We should be further than where we are right now. These are the triggers that are moving you right now. You do anything to make sure that justice is done, the right thing is done. Issa Chiroma becomes that president. That is the primary trigger. But let's listen some more. Atangan Jipo has some news for you. Fair? Let's take a listen.
As late as yesterday evening, when campaigns officially came to an end, administrative authorities provided converging evidence of attempts by certain candidates to publish the results of the presidential election using platforms and applications that are not provided for by the laws in force. I want to take this opportunity to reiterate to candidates that whosoever is tempted to engage in this criminal activity should stop before it's too late. That is the red line that must not be crossed.
So Atangan Jipo is cautioning every political candidate and their supporters that there's a line you shouldn't cross, because this election has to go through due process, right? Because the job of Elecam, and this happens between 1 to 10 days, Elecam's job is to compile the elections, right? Compile the votes, and then pass that on over to the Constitutional Council. The Constitutional Council is the one responsible to publish the official result and declare who is the president. Fair? Now, before we proceed, we'll listen to what Issa Chiroma's campaign speech is all about. But let's go ahead and show you a figure here. Take a look at that man. That is Clement Atangana. That is the head of the Constitutional Council, appointed, not elected, appointed by President Paul Biya. He is the one who is going to read the official results. He is from the Central Region, appointed by Paul Biya. He is the head of the Constitutional Council. He is going to decide who wins. President Paul Biya controls the army, controls the national TV through which these elections will be officially published. So, Issa Chiroma, based on what the population is anticipating right now, is the winner of this election. But there is due process. Right? So let's keep listening, but I just thought I'd draw your attention. This video will blow your mind. You understand your president, you understand what you have been conditioned to be for the past 43 years. So let's listen to Issa Chiroma's campaign speech. For the Anglophones, pay attention to this.
Je suis Issa Chiroma, un homme d'État, un patriote, un lien entre le Nord et le Sud, entre l'ancien et le nouveau. I've seen the system from within. I have served, and now I have chosen to rise for all of us. Plus de 20 ans de service public, ministre de la République, défenseur des services sociaux, acteur du dialogue national. Et maintenant, homme de rupture. I have the experience. I know what is broken from the inside. I am ready to fix it. Issa Chiroma est l'histoire d'un fils du peuple, d'un père, d'un bâtisseur. C'est lui qui prépare la relève sans chercher à régner. I do not want to reign. I want to pass the torch in one term with dignity. Je m'engage à signer une charte d'éthique. Je propose un programme pour tous. J'appelle à un front national de transition. This is not a campaign, this is a mission to prepare Cameroon for a generational lead. Je suis Issa Chiroma Bakari. Je m'engage à ramener le peuple au pouvoir. For I am the breed Cameroon has been waiting for.
Isn't that speech promising that he's the bridge? Fair. But if you pay attention to that speech, it's like we have an entire map. English is just dotted on the speech. And I didn't even understand what he said. And these are some of the challenges that we will face during a revolution. Language, linguistics. We have struggles right now getting Anglophones to come together and understand their history and who they are as a people. And we want transformation in a country that speaks predominantly French, that we are not part of. There's no ratified document that says we are part of Cameroon. Legally, we are not Cameroonians. Fair? This is the situation we are dealing with in the Anglophone zone, finding it hard to get everyone to come on board. I don't really understand what he said in that speech. I don't. I'm sure many Anglophones are lost. This is the future you want for yourself and your children's children. You can't have real revolution, transformation in a post-colonial country like Cameroon that speaks English and French, and we are having a presidential candidate. All we want is for Biya to come down. That's the only thing we understand in this entire speech. We want Biya to come down. But let's keep listening. Something happened interesting in Boya. People went out and voted. We are going to take a listen to that. But stay glued. I will show you exactly the president of your country, what you have been programmed to be over time, whether you like it or not. I know some like to argue, some like to claim that they are different, some like to claim that they know what they are doing, but I will show you what you have been conditioned to be. And it is possible. Hitler could program the Germans, rational human beings, to pick up guns and go to battle, stage the Second World War. So human beings can be programmed to become something other than what they were intended to be. So if you care, argue. But this is anthropology and you have no control over that. So let's take a listen. Now, that is Bamenda. That is our people going out to vote. Now, let's talk about Paul Biya, the man, and how this country has conditioned us. I had to find myself, or by myself, through research studies and spending time with our ancestors. Was never taught this growing up, right? So it is your responsibility to know who you are. It's nobody's job to do that work for you. Fair? Now, there is a saying that ignorance of the law is no excuse. The laws of gravity are evident. What goes up comes down. So if you're standing on a tall story building, someone pushes you, you fall, the effects are built in the fall. Whether you fell by yourself or somebody pushed you, the effect is the same. So not knowing is no excuse. Fair? This is one thing you should understand about President Paul Biya. He studied public law in France and political science in France. If you look at the curriculum of public law and political science in France in the 1950s and 1960s, because that is what Paul Biya studied while he was in France. Yeah, there is a king called King Louis XIV. He ruled France for 72 years. He is one of the longest serving kings in France. The question you should be asking is, how did he do it? And how did this king, his reign, his life, influence President Paul Biya? Because you should ask, why is it that he is successful doing what he does for 43 years? He has a script, a mentor, someone that he has studied carefully, and he has used that script to program Cameroonians to be who you are today. And hence, resentment and righteousness, which is the manifestation of what we see today. Get it? King Louis was a ruthless leader. He was the Sun King. That is King Louis. He was the one who beheaded his finance minister for putting up a lavish party to impress the king's guests. The king was a Sun King. Never wanted anyone beneath him to outshine him. He was the center of attention. He is the one who said, "État c'est moi." That is, he is the state. Upon passing, King Louis wrote to his grandson, "Please love your people, care for your people, because what I did was probably not the best." Now, King Louis XVI emerged, and he followed in his great-grandfather's footsteps. A ruthless leader, got married to a terrible woman, Marie Antoinette. They looted the public coffers through lavish parties, had a good time while the country was perishing. The prices of bread went through the roof, which sparked the French Revolution. Now, Maximilien Robespierre was a lawyer that defended the common man. He emerged as the spokesman for the people. Because if you look at France during that era, we had three categories of people. We had the clergy, that was the first estate. We had the nobility, that was the second estate. And then we had the third estate, that was the common man. So Maximilian Robespierre represented the common people. They created their own parliament and stood up against King Louis XVI and the wife, Marie Antoinette, like Paul Biya and Chantal Biya. But one thing I want you to understand in this story is what happened after people were being programmed for a very, very long time, and they've piled up resentment because the emotional chemistry that we are demonstrating right now is a classic example of citizens or human beings that have lived under the same energy like that of King Louis XIV, which continued under King Louis XVI until Maximilian Robespierre emerged. They had the guillotine. The guillotine was a place where they assassinated anyone that advocated that King Louis XVI should remain in power. Anyone with that sentiment was taken to the guillotine and eliminated. The French Revolution was very brutal. Thousands of people died. Brave women went on the streets marching. This is what happens. Even a transitional leader cannot cut it. So what is happening right now in Cameroon? You should understand the script your leader was playing and the subjects he has trained. Very important. He controls the media, controls the army, controls the judiciary, the Constitutional Council. The common people had to rise up in France to say, this is our time. You won't dominate us, you won't rule over us. Prices are going through the roof. Our children need food. We want schools, we want jobs, we want roads, all the finest things of life. We want it. And you are standing in the way. And Maximilian Robespierre made it absolutely clear. In order for France to live, King Louis XVI has to die. So when I look at Tanganji Paul, but when I look at Clement Atangana, the Minister of Defense in Cameroon, one thing you should pay attention to is, this is 2025. This is not 1992, where people were not informed. Because King Louis XIV could do everything that he did because the age of enlightenment was still in its infancy. But by the time King Louis XVI took over, the philosophy of enlightenment was all over France. And that is the difference. That is why that revolution happened. And so I'm cautioning not only the citizens of Cameroon at this particular crossroads, but I'm also cautioning Tanganji Paul, Clement Atangana, the Minister of Defense. Why? Because this is a social media dispensation. That is a transition from 1992 to 2025. What happened with Ninjong Frunzi was possible because we had limited media. Today, anyone can turn on their phone and they have a TV channel instantly on Facebook or YouTube or TikTok. This country is about to go up in flames because I've studied how the humans in this country have been nurtured. Remember, the entire political campaign, as good as it sounds, from what Issa Chiroma is saying, the people had one objective. Let us bring down this man. Even Maximilian Robespierre himself was beheaded. The same guillotine that he took people to, they chopped his head on the same guillotine. It's a brutal era in France, and that is the script that has been played in Cameroon for all these years. The same attitude. King Louis XVI could not continue with that regime because the people had gone through so much pain in the hands of his predecessors. King Louis XIV was a very talkative person. He was very outspoken. He was an extrovert in his early years. But if you look at his life, he became an introvert. Spoke little, showed up in public little. The Sun King, État, c'est moi. Whatever complaint you have, he will look at you and say, au revoir, we shall see. Paul Biya was very expressive in his formative years. But you realize as time goes on, he starts distancing himself from the people. The same script. That is his mentor. And when I looked at his life and where he studied, and I looked at the figures that could inspire him to do what he did in Cameroon, there's no one else in the history of France except King Louis XIV. That is the leader that has nurtured you to become this human being that you are today. Whether you like it or not, you can argue about it. You can say that is not you. You are different. I know you are different. But 90% plus Cameroonians right now harbor this energy. You have been ruled by a Sun King. If you look at the entourage, the crowd, the team surrounding Paul Biya, they are all loyalists. That is exactly what King Louis XIV did. Almost everyone around Paul Biya that was against him, against his policies, they will look for some trumped up charges and make sure you go to prison for embezzlement, of which they can always find something to send you to prison. He became the man of few words, spoke little. And that is what King Louis XIV did. People will argue about policies, he will let them debate, and then he listens to the best and say, I will think about it. We shall see. That was the Sun King. I want you to listen to something very important, because this was a transition, right? Paul Biya was never elected. Amado Ahijo transferred, right, this baton over to Paul Biya. And in his mind, his goal is that I will rule, get to a place where I'm tired, because that is what King Louis, that was the monarchical system in France, transferred the baton over to King Louis XVI. And he paid for the sins of his forefathers. His head was chopped up at the guillotine. That is how King Louis XVI ended. The wife, Marie Antoinette, the same thing. Because they had no empathy for the common man. And that is why I say to Atangan Jipo, life is very short. And every young person who aspires to become a leader, love the people. Look at how Atangan Jipo speaks to the people as though they are nothing. You and your military, your everything. and then you quote scriptures. You can't do this to people. Fair? You can't. Now, for the Anglophones, I'll play something for you to watch, and then you'll have perspective as to how you coordinate yourself in a time such as this. Very important. Some thought maybe we will be free because we left the Anglophone zone and now we find ourselves in Garoua, maybe in Yaoundé, Douala, in Betwa, wherever you are around Cameroon. Listen to this. Very important. Fair? Let's take a listen.
I usually promised that we were coming back to fix the date. We were coming back in August to read and sign. In August, as I was the Prime Minister of Southern Cameroon, we were dealing only with an interim federal government or an interim members of the house which we subscribe, but there was no parliament so called before the 1st of October. And if you using that one to talk something about the federation to be born on the 1st of October, and to the best of my knowledge, it did not appear to me that that was going to precede the legalization of the draft constitution. So the very August, I had to go back to him and remind him about the resumed constitution. When he did not answer me, in September, I reminded him, but unfortunately on 1st of October, I used the draft to declare federation and unification, which did not finish and must come back. So there things went wrong. And by the 64, he had already made up his mind, scattered the, already more or less got into the main cadre of the KNDP and tried to scatter all and made some other laws which would make him the supreme president.
If you listen carefully to what John Gofoncha said, this should help every Anglophone who went out there to vote. There was a law across the land that no Anglophone should participate in this election. You see how difficult it is for individuals to obey even leaders within their community that has their best interests at heart. And then we are talking about transformation within Cameroon that speaks English and French. Some beg to belong. They will accept us someday. We come from a community where we understand that we have ancestors, even in our tradition, those who came before us. In our tradition, the Tikar civilization, that is throughout the entire Northwest, we believe in those who came before us, that life is a continuation. The book did not start with us. Some laid the foundation for us to get where we are today. The law of gravity affects you whether you like it or not. Disobeying this, listening to what Foncha just said, you are not legally part of Cameroon. I mean, legally, you are not a Cameroonian. They had an interim federal system. The relationship was never consummated. He was the one on the steering. And if I bring a message like this and you reject it, they pass a law across the land and you reject it because you are a wise person, You're very smart than most. So you went on and participated in that election. While your people have been suffering for all these years, the karma is built in. The bad luck is built in that decision. I mean, you can argue, right? You can say whatever you want to say, but the effects are built in. Understanding who I am, understanding this history, helped me to have perspective and peace of mind. When I was running around the one Cameroon thing, the ill luck was enormous. Just finding me, understanding this history has given me peace of mind and perspective that I've never had. Disobedience, my people, there is karma built in. When things start going wrong in your life and you are looking for where it started, understand that it is this cooperation with people that have treated your people terribly. They've died in their thousands. You ignore all of that. If you find yourself in a safe place, you go on to play politics. Politics will not cut this. Again, we come from a tradition where we are taught to obey those who came before us. Life is a continuation. It did not start with you. Violating this, there are consequences built in. My people, I had to learn the hard way. When things start going wrong in your life, don't say, where's the bad luck coming from? Understand that if we arrive at a crossroads like this, and we say, everybody stay at home, we should obey that. And I encourage everyone, go buy the book, Things Fall Apart, by Chinua Achebe. You have a firm understanding of who you are. The European man's politics will not cut this ill luck in our community. Go read that book and understand who you are. You cannot argue your way out of this. You will talk and argue and claim you are right. But my brother, the effect is building. You see why we are struggling to make progress, even as Anglophones right now? Because of opinions everywhere. Everybody knows. Everybody is a wise person. You see what is happening and what will happen to Atamanjipo? Yeah, this is what happens when you dine, eat with the devil at the expense of your people's pain. And our ancestors are in their graves. They are watching over us and they see us blunder. Videos like this surface, we teach on what to do. You still turn around and say, oh, forget about that. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. My brother, there are consequences building. In that book, Things Fall Apart, you will understand that one person's decision affects the entire community. One person's decision can affect the entire community. It did not take many Africans to cooperate for slavery and slave trade to happen. Just one chief got engaged. One European came down with an idea. Our people got engaged. And today, the consequences are building. And we can see how our culture, our traditions, our way of life, our thinking. See, colonialism, for example. My brother, it has done a great deal of hell on us. The effects are still eminent till today. You cannot talk your way out of this. It is real. We are seeing it every day. How corrupt our leaders are, corrupt our presidents, funds, chiefs. We can see the corruption in broad daylight. It took just one person to engage in that conversation. And this is what you, as a Tikar man, so-called Anglophone, engages with the people that have killed our boys, raped our women, burned villages. These are all the impact of their actions on our land. And you choose to go vote in that system after listening to John Gofoncha say this was an interim federal system. That relationship was never consummated. And so the consequences were built in. You see what happened to Amadou Ahijo? He got tricked out of his own position, transferred the baton over to Paul Biya, ended up in exile, and passed away in exile. His corpse is still in Senegal as we speak. It is real. The gods of the Tikar is awake. Do you hear me? Whether you're a pastor, you're a fund cooperating with this system, the consequences are generational. It will not stop with you. It will affect you and your children's children. Unless you cleanse yourself and make a U-turn, the consequences are building. I just want to let you guys know. It is better that I say it and then you disobey it than claiming you don't know and then you keep doing what you're doing. So the ancestors woke me up to this realization, and I'm passing on this message to you, that your participation in this government is ill luck over you and your children's children. You will see it in the life of Atangan Jipo very soon. Very soon you will see it. So that you understand what will happen to you when you continue this way. We will not need someone to run after you, the king or the God. Brother, it will meet you. Sister, it will meet you. That smartness, right? It will meet you. So I thought I passed the message with grace. That a system will treat us this way. You go join them and vote in that system. When the message went out in the community that none of us should participate in this, because we are not, and you've heard it from our founding father, Foncha, that relationship was not consummated. I ran around hoping that Ayijo would sign this document. And for all the Francophones, if you want to see peace and prosperity in Cameroon, let the Anglophones go. Don't claim you don't have a voice, everything is with the government, because whatever Pobia does will affect you and your children's children. And we have seen the effect in our lifetime. Fair? Now, let's listen some more to what Minister Atangan Jipo has in store for you. Get ready. Get ready. Let's take a listen.
Candidates for presidential election should be reminded that they all signed a code of good conduct drafted by Elections Cameroon, which requires them to respect the entire electoral process and the laws of the Republic. The administration will take drastic measures to put an end to any attempt of fabricating fake election results and publishing them on illegal platforms. Defaulters, regardless of their political status or social rank, shall face the heavy arm of the law. As it has always been the case, there will obviously be complaints and observations from candidates after the presidential election. However, the administration's position is consistent. Candidates must use legal channels to file their complaints, observations, or grievances in due time. That is a part of wisdom. That is a sign of political maturity and sense of responsibility. The head of state, His Excellency President Paul Biya, had given firm instructions for a well-organized, credible, and peaceful presidential election held in a secure environment. I wish to assure the national and the international communities that the presidential election of today took place in the 10 regions without any major incident. I can say it was hitch-free. Henceforth, the leniency observed during the campaign period is over. I must emphasize that break time is over. Only the vote counting bodies will continue with the process. These are the divisional and national vote counting commissions, which all have a well-defined working time frame. Subsequently, the Constitutional Council shall take over until the official proclamation of election results. No action out of this legal framework shall be tolerated. All attempts to disrupt the electoral process at the end of the polls will be considered by MINAT as a casus belli and treated as such. I would like to conclude my statement with the warning that the head of state, His Excellency President Paul Biya, issued to unscrupulous candidates during the 1992 presidential elections, and I quote, "Nobody should joke with Cameroon." The head of state's statement warning in 1992 still applies to the present circumstances. Defaulters should be on their guard.
So what is he reminding you of? There are many elections that have been conducted in Cameroon for over the years. Why 92? Because they are probably seeing that Issa Chiroma Bakari might win. And because of that, we will use the same strategy that we used in 92. We'll rig the election. And if you protest, the heavy arm of the law is going to be upon you. Are you getting it? That's why he went back to 92. I mean, if you look at the past election, they didn't talk about 92. Because the energy in the atmosphere looks like that of 92. And when you look at why Ninjom Fungi did not become president, and now we are understanding where we find ourselves today, all things work together for our good. Because initially, we are not citizens of this country. No matter how hard you try to belong. And for those who are propagating the idea of one Africa, I have a question for you. For over 9 years, thousands of people have died in the northwest and southwest region in Cameroon. How many of you have come together and put a delegation to go down in the northwest just to even see what is going on or help solve the problem that we are facing in Cameroon for 9 years? You can't solve one problem in one African country. And yet you want to go around telling us you're one Africa. Where did that idea come from in the first place? Because, my people, these are the next group of human beings you have to be careful of. Because UPC was greatly influenced by Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah influenced Foncha. Hence the idea of one Cameroon, that we are stuck in this mess, trying to make progress. None of these individuals can help you, and yet they go around saying they are one Africa. One for what? Can you show me that you're one by standing with us in a time such as this? Was Africa ever one? Where did you get that idea from? You were saying Kwame Nkrumah. Where did Kwame Nkrumah get it from? Ask those questions. Go find the answers to those questions. Some come tell me we are all Cameroonians. Hell no. We are all Africans. Hell no. That is how you reduce yourself to just Africa. If that is what you believe, don't push your beliefs on everybody else. That is democracy, and respect that. Take that idea of one Africa to another direction, not here. If you believe we are all one Africa, we want to see a delegation of people that you've mobilized that are willing to lay down their lives and go down there in the northwest and the southwest to help us. A delegation from the African Union was sent to Cameroon to go see what is going on. The individuals ended in Yaoundé, ate their food and returned without even stepping foot in the northwest. One Africa. When people are trying to solve complex problems within their societies that are affecting their daily lives, you guys step on the side with those agendas that has no perspective, no vision. This is a group you have to be careful of. Very lazy and unproductive citizens in their country come together and say they are one Africa. Go fix fix your own country. That is how you fix Africa. You want Africa to be one? Take care of your goddamn nation and keep your mouth shut and get out of our business. It's that simple. Get out of our business. It's that simple. So my people, this is where we find ourselves. Honor your ancestors. Go out there, pick that book, Things Fall Apart, and read that book by Chinua Achebe. Know yourself. Decolonize your own mind from mental slavery. Connect with who you truly are. And that is where you find true freedom.